Have you ever thought you were perfectly fine, only to wake up one morning and feel your legs trembling, your vision blurring, or your words slipping away for a few seconds? I need you to know something that may shock you. For many Americans over the age of 60, the first sign of a stroke is not a dramatic collapse. It is a quiet moment, a small stumble, a sudden dizziness, and too often it is ignored until it is too late. I say this not to frighten you, but to tell you the truth I have seen for more than 30 years as a neurologist. I have sat beside thousands of seniors in hospitals across the United States. Men and women who thought they were just getting older, when in fact their brains were silently crying out for help. Here's the good news. Stroke and memory loss do not arrive overnight. They build slowly, and they can be prevented. Your daily morning habits, how you rise from bed, whether you drink water, the way you handle your medicine, these small choices can decide whether your brain stays sharp or suffers in silence. And that is why today on Dr. Brain, we will walk together through the 7 morning mistakes that quietly raise your risk of stroke and the gentle solutions that can protect your memory and independence for years to come. Do you see yourself here? Have you ever had a morning when you felt dizzy for no reason, or when your balance failed you for a moment? Leave your answer in the comments below. If you have felt it, type the number 1. If you have never felt it, type the number 0. Your story may help someone else watching right now. And if this message speaks to you, subscribe to Dr. Brain so we can keep learning and healing together. Number 1. The silent nature of stroke in seniors. When most people imagine a stroke, they picture a sudden collapse, a dramatic scene with flashing ambulances. But the truth I have seen in over 30 years of practice is far quieter and far more dangerous. For many Americans over the age of 60, stroke does not begin with a bang. It begins with a whisper, a moment of dizziness when getting out of bed, a stumble on the way to the bathroom, a few seconds when words do not come out clearly. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that nearly 800,000 people in the United States suffer a stroke each year, and about 1 out of every 4 of them will have another one. Those numbers are not just statistics. They represent real lives. Grandparents, neighbors, people who thought their bodies were simply getting older, when in fact their brains were waving red flags. The reason this happens so silently is biology. As we age, our blood vessels lose flexibility, circulation slows, blood pressure becomes harder to regulate, and even small triggers, a salty breakfast, a quick rise from bed, a skipped glass of water, can strain the delicate arteries that supply oxygen to the brain. When that oxygen supply dips, even for a short moment, brain cells begin to suffer. And if that moment is prolonged or repeated, the damage can become permanent. I share this not to alarm you, but to awaken you. If you have ever told yourself, I just stood up too fast, or I probably slept wrong after a dizzy spell, your body may be trying to warn you. The challenge is that seniors often normalize these moments, writing them off as ordinary aging. Yet in my clinical experience, these ordinary episodes are often the earliest signs of a bigger problem. The hopeful news is that prevention is possible. Stroke risk is not only about genetics or bad luck, it is about daily habits and awareness. By learning to notice those quiet signals, and by making small adjustments to your morning routine, you can dramatically lower your risk. So let me ask you, have you ever had a morning when your balance felt unsteady or your speech was briefly unclear? Leave a comment below and share your story. You are not alone, and your words could be the wake-up call someone else desperately needs. Your brain is what? It whispers before it screams. Listen closely. Number 2, why morning is the brain's most vulnerable time. There is a reason why so many strokes and memory-related episodes occur in the early hours of the day. The morning is not just the start of your schedule. Biologically, it is the most fragile window for your brain. After decades of treating older adults, I can tell you that what happens in those first 60 minutes after waking often decides how steady, sharp, and safe the rest of the day will be. During sleep, your body rests in a lower pressure state. Your heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, and fluids shift as you lie flat for hours. When you suddenly rise, the transition is not always smooth. especially for people over 60 whose blood vessels have lost some elasticity. This is why the National Institute on Aging notes that older adults are more prone to orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when standing, which can cause dizziness or even fainting. That momentary dip in oxygen supply to the brain, repeated morning after morning, is one of the hidden pathways toward long-term brain decline. Another factor is dehydration. By the time you wake, you may have gone 7 or 8 hours without drinking any water. That means your blood is slightly thicker, circulation is slower, and your brain, a tissue made of about 75% water, is already under strain. Add to this the natural morning surge in cortisol, a hormone that raises blood pressure, and you can see why the hours between 6 and 10 in the morning are considered high risk for cardiovascular and cerebrovascular events. When I look back at my patients, a pattern is striking. Many of them experience their first warning signs, mini strokes, or transient ischemic attacks, right after waking. They would describe subtle symptoms, blurred vision while brushing their teeth, weakness when heading to the kitchen, or brief confusion over a familiar task. At first, they dismissed it. Only later did they realize those mornings were not random. They were their body's early alarm. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Mornings are not neutral. They are a stress test for your brain and your circulation. This is why adjusting your morning habits, hydrating, rising slowly, eating wisely, is not a small matter. It is brain protection at its most practical. Have you ever noticed that your body feels more fragile in the morning compared to later in the day? Share your thoughts in the comments. By paying attention to those first moments, you may uncover the single most important opportunity to guard your memory and independence. Number 3, the danger of rushing out of bed. It feels natural. The alarm goes off, daylight filters in, and you swing your legs over the side of the bed, eager to start the day. But after 30 years of listening to patients' stories, I can tell you, this habit of jumping up too quickly is one of the most overlooked risks to brain health in seniors. Here is why. After a full night's sleep, your blood pressure is lower than usual. Your circulation has slowed. The moment you move from lying flat to standing upright, gravity pulls blood downward. In younger people, blood vessels respond quickly, tightening to maintain steady flow to the brain. But as we age, those vessels lose elasticity. They react more slowly. The result can be a sudden, sharp drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic hypotension. You may recognize the feeling, lightheadedness, blurred vision, or even the sense that you might faint. The National Library of Medicine notes that this condition is far more common in adults over 60. And while it may seem like just a dizzy spell, what it really means is that your brain was deprived of oxygen for a critical few seconds. Over time, these episodes raise the risk of falls, mini strokes, and long-term cognitive decline. I remember one patient, Mr. John, a retired mechanic in his 70s. He always prided himself on being quick to rise. One morning, he stood up fast to answer the phone, grew dizzy, and collapsed onto the floor. Thankfully, he was not badly injured, but the test showed he had suffered a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke triggered by that sudden blood pressure drop. The good news is that this risk is easy to lower. When you first wake, pause. Take a few slow breaths. Stretch your hands and feet. Roll to your side, then sit up slowly. Place your feet on the floor and wait for 10 or 15 seconds before standing. These simple steps allow your circulation to adjust and your brain to receive steady oxygen. So let me ask you, have you ever felt dizzy when getting out of bed too fast? Did you ignore it, thinking it was just age? Share your story in the comments below. Someone else watching may feel the same, but not know the reason. Remember, protecting your brain is not about slowing down your life. It is about being smart in the moments that matter most. Number 4, morning hydration, a natural brain shield. When you open your eyes in the morning, you may not realize that your body has just gone 7 or 8 hours without a sip of water. During sleep, you lose fluids through breathing and sweating. By the time you wake up, you are already slightly dehydrated. And for a brain that is made of about 75% water, even mild dehydration matters. The American Heart Association has pointed out that dehydration can thicken the blood, slow circulation, and increase blood pressure. For seniors, that means the brain receives less oxygen right at the start of the day. Over time, this can increase the risk of stroke, memory problems, and fatigue. If you also take medications such as diuretics for blood pressure or heart conditions, the effect is even stronger. Your body is losing more water overnight than you may realize. Think of it this way. Imagine trying to water your garden with a hose that has only a trickle flowing through it. The flowers will wilt, not because the soil is bad, but because the water is not enough. Your brain works the same way. Without water, the blood becomes sluggish, and neurons struggle to fire efficiently. But here is the encouraging part. One simple habit can change this picture. Before you reach for coffee or take your morning pills, drink 1 full glass of room temperature water. It helps thin your blood naturally, improves oxygen delivery, and gently wakes up your nervous system. Many of my patients who adopted this routine told me they felt clearer, steadier, and more energetic within just a few days. Now let me pause and ask you directly. Do you drink water first thing in the morning, or do you usually skip straight to coffee or tea? Have you noticed how different your body feels on the days you remember to hydrate? Share your personal routine in the comments below. Your story might be the gentle reminder another senior needs to hear today. I want you to know this. Your brain is wise, but it cannot speak out loud. That first glass of water is like opening the window to let in fresh air. It is a quiet but powerful way to protect your memory and independence for years to come, and it takes less than 1 minute each morning. Number 5, the hidden salt trap at breakfast. Breakfast is often called the most important meal of the day, but for many older adults, it can quietly become a hidden threat to the brain. The problem is not the eggs or the toast. It is the salt, much of it invisible, that sneaks into common morning foods. When I ask my patients what they usually eat, I hear answers like cereal, bread, instant oatmeal, or breakfast bars. These sound harmless, even healthy. But if you look closely at the labels, you will often see sodium levels far higher than expected. A single serving of flavored instant oatmeal can contain 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium. One slice of packaged bread can add another 100 to 150 milligrams. Sausages or processed cheese can push the total far beyond what the brain and blood vessels can handle first thing in the morning. The American Heart Association recommends keeping daily sodium intake under 1,500 milligrams for older adults. Yet many breakfasts alone already reach 1/3 or even 1/2 of that limit. The danger is magnified because blood pressure naturally spikes in the morning. Combining that surge with a salty meal puts added pressure on delicate brain arteries, increasing the risk of stroke and long-term cognitive decline. I remember one woman in her late 60s who told me she had given up salt. But when we reviewed her food, her healthy whole grain cereal and her light breakfast sandwich contained nearly 600 milligrams of sodium together. She was shocked. She thought she was doing everything right, yet her morning routine was quietly pushing her blood pressure higher every day. The solution is not to give up breakfast, but to choose smarter options. Plain oatmeal topped with fresh fruit, a boiled egg with avocado, or yogurt with unsalted nuts can cut sodium by hundreds of milligrams while still providing protein and energy. Even small swaps like replacing processed cheese with fresh vegetables make a meaningful difference. Have you ever checked the sodium levels in your favorite breakfast foods? Were you surprised by what you found? Share your experience in the comments. Your tip or discovery might help another senior make a healthier start tomorrow. Remember, your brain depends on steady circulation. A low-salt breakfast is not about denying flavor. It is about protecting your memory, your balance, and your independence with each new day. Number 6, coffee, friend or foe for the aging brain. For many Americans, coffee feels like the heartbeat of the morning. That first warm sip seems to bring the day into focus. But for those over 60, drinking coffee the wrong way, especially on an empty stomach, can quietly raise the risk of stroke and memory decline. Here is why. Caffeine stimulates the release of adrenaline. It raises heart rate, constricts blood vessels, and pushes blood pressure higher in a matter of minutes. In younger people, blood vessels adapt more easily. But with age, arteries become stiffer and less flexible. A sudden spike in pressure places extra strain on the brain's delicate circulation. The Mayo Clinic has noted that excessive caffeine intake is linked with irregular heart rhythms and elevated blood pressure. Two major risk factors for stroke. Does that mean you must give up coffee? Absolutely not. Coffee itself can have benefits, including antioxidants that support brain health. The problem lies in timing, quantity, and what you add to it. Drinking it first thing, before any food or water, is like revving an engine without oil. Your body is still dehydrated from the night, and your blood is already thicker than normal. Add caffeine on top of that, and the strain multiplies. A safer approach is simple. Start the morning with a glass of water to rehydrate. Have a light, brain-friendly breakfast, like a boiled egg, fruit, or a slice of whole grain toast. Then enjoy your coffee. Keep it moderate. 1 cup, not 3 in a row. And be cautious with creamers and sugars, which add hidden calories and inflammation. I often tell my patients, coffee is not the enemy, but your habits can turn it into one. What worked for you at 40 may not serve your brain at 70. If you find yourself reaching for multiple cups just to stay awake, it may be your body signaling poor sleep, dehydration, or another health issue that deserves attention. Now let me ask you, is coffee the first thing you reach for in the morning? Or have you found a routine that allows you to enjoy it without feeling jittery or drained later? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience could help another senior find a healthier balance. Your brain deserves protection, not pressure. Coffee can remain your companion, but only if you learn to drink it wisely. Number 7, the warnings we ignore. Morning symptoms and medication mistakes. Some of the most important messages from your brain arrive quietly, often in the early hours. A bit of dizziness, a numb hand, words that come out slightly slurred. These are not just quirks of aging. In my 30 years as a neurologist, I have seen too many patients ignore these signals, only to face a major stroke weeks or months later. These subtle episodes are often transient ischemic attacks, also called mini-strokes. They may last only a few minutes and then disappear, but they are powerful warnings. The American Stroke Association reports that nearly 1 in 3 people who experience a mini-stroke will suffer a full stroke within 1 year if nothing changes. That is why paying attention in the morning matters. Those first hours after waking are when your brain is adjusting to new blood pressure and circulation demands. A stumble, a moment of confusion, or sudden weakness should never be brushed off. At the same time, another hidden risk comes from the way medications are handled. Many seniors rely on pills for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinning. These are not just routine, they are your brain's daily shield. But when doses are skipped, doubled by mistake, or taken with the wrong drink, that shield weakens. I have seen patients accidentally take their morning blood pressure pills with coffee instead of water, only to struggle with side effects because the medicine was poorly absorbed. Others missed doses and thought they felt fine, until their blood pressure spiked dangerously. The solutions are gentle but powerful. Use a pill organizer with morning, noon, and night sections. Set reminders on your phone or place medications next to a habit you never skip, like brushing your teeth. And never adjust your dosage without speaking to your doctor, even if you feel well. The medicine is doing quiet work behind the scenes that you may not feel, but your brain depends on it. Have you ever forgotten a pill or accidentally taken the wrong dose? How did you handle it? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience may reassure someone else who struggles with the same challenge. Remember this, your brain often whispers before it cries out. A dizzy spell, a skipped pill, a moment of weakness. None of these are small. There are chances to protect your future if you choose to listen and act. Number 8, the overlooked habit, delaying the bathroom trip. It may sound surprising, even a little uncomfortable to talk about, but one of the most overlooked morning habits that can put pressure on your brain and heart is simply holding in your urine after waking. Many older adults wake up, feel the urge, but choose to lie there a bit longer, scrolling the phone, checking the news, or waiting until after their first cup of coffee. At first glance, it feels harmless. In reality, it is a quiet stressor on the body that can add to stroke risk. Here is why. When your bladder is full, it is not just sitting there patiently. The body interprets the fullness as stress, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones raise blood pressure and cause blood vessels to tighten. For someone already living with hypertension, or stiff arteries. This added strain in the early morning is dangerous. The Cleveland Clinic has noted that high blood pressure peaks in the morning hours. Combine that natural surge with a full bladder, and you have a recipe for unnecessary pressure on the brain's delicate circulation. There is also the effect on the heart. A full bladder can stimulate changes in heart rhythm, especially in people who already have arrhythmias or heart valve problems. I have cared for patients who describe palpitations or chest pressure that only appeared when they delayed a bathroom trip after waking. For a few, those mornings led to fainting spells or hospital visits. The solution, thankfully, is simple. Listen to your body. When you wake and feel the urge, honor it as your first act of self-care for the day. Get up, go to the bathroom, then continue with your morning routine. It does not take long, but it relieves hidden stress on both the cardiovascular and nervous systems. Think of it like releasing a valve, letting your body reset before you place it under the additional demands of the day. Now let me turn to you. Do you have a habit of delaying your morning bathroom trip? Have you ever felt lightheaded or uneasy when you held it too long? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience may help someone else realize that a small change could protect their health. I want you to remember this. Brain protection is not only about complex medical treatments. Sometimes it is about the simplest choices, the ones we overlook. Going to the bathroom when your body asks is not trivial. It is a signal of respect for the wisdom of your body, and it is one more way to protect your brain and your independence. Number 9, small morning changes, lifelong protection. When we look back at all the morning habits we have explored together, a clear picture emerges. Stroke and memory decline do not arrive suddenly. They build from small, repeated choices. How quickly you rise from bed, whether you take that first glass of water, how much salt hides in your breakfast, how you handle your coffee, your medications, and even your first trip to the bathroom. Each habit may seem minor on its own, but together they shape the health of your brain and your independence for years to come. The hopeful truth is this: you do not need a complicated program or an expensive treatment to protect your brain. What you need are gentle, consistent actions. Stand up slowly and give your body time to adjust. Drink water before coffee. Choose a low-salt breakfast that supports steady blood flow. Enjoy coffee wisely after food and hydration. Take medications faithfully with water, not with shortcuts. And listen to your body when it signals the need for the bathroom. These are not restrictions. They are freedoms, simple steps that give you more strength, more clarity, and more peace of mind. Over my 30 years as a neurologist, I have seen patients transform their mornings. Some once lived in fear of dizziness or mini strokes, but by making these changes, they regained confidence, energy, and joy. I want you to believe this. It is never too late to protect your brain. While it is not the end of control, every new morning offers a chance to live better. Each careful choice builds a shield around your memory, your balance, and your independence. You deserve that. If this video gave you even one idea you can use, I encourage you to take action today. Which habit will you start with tomorrow morning? Comment below. I would love to hear. Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs. And if you found value here, please give this video a like, share it with a friend or family member over 60 who could benefit, and subscribe to Dr. Brain for more trusted, practical guidance. For your next step, I invite you to watch our upcoming video, 4 Coffees to Ban Forever. In it, we will uncover which coffee habits may be quietly damaging your brain and what safer, smarter options can take their place. Remember, your mornings matter, and so does your health. Protect your brain before it needs saving.